Okay, so for this version, we're going to go ahead and complete the forms that we need so we can associate some transactions for existing clients. Notice in this case here, since my last recording, I've deleted the client. I'll put it back, the client form that is. So let me go ahead and this will be a good review. I just used the form wizard for this. So here's the client and chose all the fields. And here they are. So I hit finish, and what you have is the client table being reflected in this form in which you can enter the clients. Now, what I did last time is I also made this. So if we go to design mode, I made it where it's a read-only, so the users do not change it. Okay, so enabled, just say no. There you go. And now if I play it again, as you can see, I have 8 clients so far. Okay. But if I try to click on client ID, nothing happens. You can't change that. Once you're ready to add a new client, okay, it'll automatically generate a key for you. So let's have Kelly. There you go, for our next user, and we're good to go. So let's go back. Here are our users. Perfect. So now, what I would like to do, let's go back. Let's save this, obviously. So let's go to the database tools. Let's go to look at relationships here. We want to create a form, subform for transactions and line items. Then we would like to tie that up to client. Okay. So now, can we have a form, subform? And yes, we can, except, you'll have to pay attention to how I do it. It's a little tricky. The form subform is not a problem. We'll do exactly what we did with the manufacturer and the product subform. So it's going to be very similar. So we go to create. We're going to go to form wizard. And in our case, we're going to pick on transaction. Let's pick all the fields for now. We can always adjust this. And then we will pick on line item. Pick all the fields for now. We can always adjust that and hit finish. Okay? So what we have now is a transaction has many line items. And I can scroll through my transactions. You can see I have 2 transactions. One that had 2 items were bought, at least 2 orders, right? By some client ID 3. So not all my clients have had transactions, only client 1 and client 3. Fine. So now, let me save this. I want to create another form now. Notice what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to create, and I'm going to go to form design. I'm going to go over here and try to insert the form and subform right here, okay? Except this form here, this one right here, will be based on client. So notice where I'm clicking, where my mouse is. And I'm going to say record source client, okay, for my main form. Now I go over here and I can choose a field where I can go ahead and display my clients. What I decided to do is actually use a drop-down combo box right here. Okay. And let me just hit cancel. I'm going to do it manually. And let me just extend it. And in here, let's leave it as combo 0 for now. We can change its name as to what this is. If you click here, the name of the object is called combo 0. Okay, so we could leave it as combo 0. That wouldn't change. Even if you change the label here, that shouldn't be a problem. You could say client or choose a client. Okay, you could do something like this for the label. This is still, as far as we're concerned, combo 0, and you can change its name. Okay, combo for combination. Now, what we would like to do is make sure that combo 0 allows us to see our clients, at least the ID, first name, and last name. So first, make sure you know where it's coming from. Row source should be client. And it's going to be bound by column 1. Column 1 is the ID. Okay? Go to Format now and change the column count to 3. Okay, now let's see the effect of doing that, what would happen. So if I click here and choose a client, this is what I get. I can choose any of these clients here. And any of these clients would have a transaction or a history of transactions. So to do that, we're going to take in the transaction form that we've done. Notice what I'm going to do. Just drag and drop right there. Okay. I can even move it a little higher. Let's see if we can do that. And there you go. See if I can move this up. Oops. Lost my transactions. Just put them here. And then move this guy right here. Good. Now, what happens here if you run this? They're not related yet. So you could pick any client you want. Nothing is going on here. You're not relating. You haven't related any of this subforms to any of these clients. So that's our next step is whatever client we choose, we want the transaction for that client plus their line items. Okay? So we're going to have to go back to design. Okay? Good. So now that we're here and we have the subform, which is really a main form, the transaction highlighted here in orange, we can go to where it says data and notice where it says link master field. Okay? So link master field, you're going to tell it that it's going to be combo 0. So it's going to be this one, this object, right? Combo 0, this one. So you can combo 0. So let's go back here. And the link master field would be combo 0. The link child field, leave that as client ID. That's what basically links these two together. Let's see how this works now. So let me just save for a second here. Let's call this form client transactions. Okay. And I'm going to hit OK. And now let's go ahead and, I made a little mistake here. Let's see, I must have written out the name wrong way. Let's go back to design and see if I combo with an O. That's why. Okay, so let's go back, and this is combo. This is why it's asking me for a parameter. It says what is combo? Here's combo. All right, so now let's see what happens. Let's go to form view. Okay, good. So as you can see, client number 4, who happens to be Jane Goodall, doesn't have any transactions. Let's go to Henry Ford. Same thing. Let's go to the first one. Now that one bought a gizmo on a certain date. And I believe number 3 also bought items. All others didn't. Perfect. So now it's all synchronized. Okay. So you can, from here, choose an existing client and go ahead and do transactions for them. So the last one we had, Kelly Ripa, as you can see, the client ID is 9. Client ID is 9. And we can go ahead and do our transaction. Today is 03 and what is it? 16/2020. And we can go ahead and assign a product. Let's say she bought a mouse. Let's say she bought one of them. Let's say she buys another thing, another item. And let's say a play platform, and she buys 3 of them. Perfect. All right, so hit save, right? And now let's go ahead and see if indeed under transactions, or we have that. And sure enough, client ID number 9 on this date had a transaction. Line item will give us even more details. Okay, so these transactions were order ID number 5, and we have this item, which happens to be a mouse, and we have this item, which happens to be a play platform. So very much synchronized. So let me close all, and let's start again. So for now, I'm just going to go ahead and type on client transactions. Okay, everything is blank. I have no client selected, no transactions. I can go ahead here and pick any of these clients. Let's pick me here and add another item on the same order, or add a new order. Let's say I have a new order. Okay, so today's date, and that would be, let's say, what is today again? 03/16 and 2020. So I'm not bound by the previous order. We're at a different date. And let's say I buy a mouse too. And this time I buy 100 mice for my lab. There you go. There. Okay. So as you can see, okay, so that user, DrewProf, so the client ID here is synchronized. So when I refine this design, I'm going to remove the trans ID and client ID from being viewed. And I'm going to leave here the client name showing instead of just the ID. So there are a lot of improvements you can do. What I'm interested in right now is the mechanics side of it. So that way I know that my data integrity follows the design that I had in mind. So here are my clients. Okay. And let's close that. Let's open the tables actually. So let's say here are my clients. And if I look under Drew, I have 2 orders at 2 different dates. And if I look at the last one, it was a mouse. If I look at a previous one, it was Gizmo 100. Let's see what that is. It was a play platform. Okay, so you can see I had 2 orders there. Let's go to Robert Mitchum. Robert Mitchum had nothing. Robert Mitchum has an ID of 7. Can we enter a transaction here and go to the form and see if the result shows on that side? Yeah, sure we can. We can go ahead and do 03. Again, today is 16, 2020. Okay, and so we've added it. So now we're going to go over here and go ahead and select a product. And let's say Robert buys 3 microprocessors. Perfect. Okay, all done. Okay, so let's close this client table here. And let's go to the client transaction. And let's go to Robert Mitchum. And here they are. As you can see, on that date, there is an order that has 1 line item in the product. Okay, so I hope this helped configure how do you do a little more, one extra layer nested, or how should I say, form subform. So you have a form within a form within a form, right? So you have 2 subforms within one main form.